We went through this recent trip that was organized by an organization called CRI. 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 We went through this recent trip that was organized by an organization called CRI. When we made these streams, we came off as a bit entitled, maybe, as a bit frustrated, and CRI. I think that the problem was that those streams lacked a lot of context. We were offered an opportunity to do a promotional trip. We had done, actually, Lee and Ollie had done one that we kind of cooperated on in Chongqing.
I agree. There definitely is a lack of context. But I'm going to put these things into context for people. Ja Yoe Matt, Barett, his son Ollie Barett, Guelo 60, and these weirdo Scooby-Doo kids on the bottom of the screen were paid by a Chinese state-run media outlet, aka the CCP, to go around and willingly spread propaganda. That's right, the Chinese government is paying them.
They invite you to their city and they cover some of your expenses, all of your expenses, basically.
For me, this is very scary. We have an American admitting to working with the Chinese government directly. Listen to me. An American that is working with the Chinese government directly. That they have in fact paid for these trips and have been doing so for some time. Of course, people like me, Serpent ZA and Lawa 86, we've probably questioned these things for a long time. I sure have. And we were all called liars. We were told that it just wasn't true. And I remember when Serpent ZA and Lawa 86 did an interesting video exposing the propaganda a while ago. And Ja Yoe Nation Matt said, "No, you guys are lying. These are all lies. It's fake. It's not real." But now Ja Yoe Nation, he admits it. These trips are government funded.
So what do? Is they cart all these white monkeys, more or less.
Yeah. And the people that are participating in this, willingly or maybe unwittingly, just how low their morals are. It's dumb. And they use useful idiots, foreigners on YouTube. The influencers were willing to gloat and show their narcissistic selfie pictures. So far, it means that he is incredibly insensitive and it's just really the wrong time.
Or it was part of the contract. He is our friend.
Yeah.
This is not...
No, absolutely.
Not an attack, guys.
Don't need to keep defending. Actions speak louder than words, dude.
There are a few interesting points that I want to take from the Serpent ZA and Lawa 86 video. Even though these situations are two different things, they are related to one another in many ways. Serpent ZA says that they are useful idiots, which is what we're seeing now. With people like Daniel Dumbrill, Nathan Rich, Cyrus Jansen, Barett, his son, again this Ja Yoe Nation, and the Scooby-Doo crew. They have been on places like XiTN, of course, which is another state-run media outlet. Of course, to spread Chinese propaganda. But this isn't happening, again, not just in China. This is happening on places like YouTube. This is happening on the Western internet. And they're gloating about it. Gloating about being tools. And one thing that Steve Milk said that was interesting to me was, is it a part of the contract?
Or it was part of the contract. Or it was part of the contract.
And that's a good question. Are these people being naive? Or is there intent? And before this video, we weren't 100% sure, but I think this video is evidence that there is 100% intent and evidence that they're working directly with the Chinese government.
So now make sure to understand that this is a government organization that was doing this trip. Government organization that was doing this trip.
Again, Ja Yoe admits that he is willing to work for a government organization as a propaganda tool for financial gain. Wow.
A few different locations, but I think it wasn't till the second day they started talking about cutting the trip short by a day.
Yeah.
And taking Washan off, but there was no real reason given for that. I don't think. I don't remember a reason given for that. Does anybody else?
They had to fit in more propaganda visits.
Anybody else?
They had to fit in more propaganda visits.
Ja Yoe again admits that he knows it is propaganda, and he even laughs about it, as if passing off propaganda for a communist regime that oppresses people is somehow funny. It's funny to support a communist regime that, oppresses Uyghurs and Tibetans and people from Hong Kong. I wonder how those groups of people feel about this. Do they think that Chinese propaganda is funny? And again, we've stepped over the line now. It's no longer naive. It's proven intent to work with the Chinese government against the West.
And the things they wanted us to do did not have anything to do with us making our videos. Mm-hmm. It was mostly them making their content, and we became sort of figureheads,
Yeah, so the way it works is they take you to various areas and they show you things. And okay, some of those things are quite interesting. However, they're kind of things that won't make a video necessarily, but they like to snap pictures there for their media, so that they will put it in their local newspapers, they'll put it on their local websites to say that, foreigners are visiting the area and blah, blah, blah.
Ja Yoe continues and pushes it even a step further and says, this is nothing to do with our own videos. They simply brought us here to further the propaganda. Barett even goes into details. A second witness here, a second person on this trip. And he says that they purposely make it so you can't make videos and that they put you in propaganda situations. Again, a second person. This is just not Ja Yoe's account. This is Barett saying this too. They show them speaking on stage in front of signs. Strange. Didn't Serpents at A not too long ago talk about how they like to brag about standing in front of these propaganda pictures? And now you see them gloating about it again here in another video. Strange.
The influencers were willing to gloat and show their narcissistic selfie pictures. So far, it means that he is incredibly insensitive. And
I'll give another example. There was a point when we got to a hotel and they said, Matt, you're going to give a speech. And and I was like, okay, I'll give a speech. What do you want me to say?
They've been calling all of us liars from the very beginning. They've been telling us that these trips and all these things they've been doing they were paying for them, that it wasn't given to them. But now we know for a fact that these are real. But let's be honest, we've all kind of known this from the beginning. People like Serpents at A, Wow 86, Austin in China, and even me, a small unknown YouTuber, have been offered these kinds of trips before. But now the shills have become arrogant, and they've come out and they've admitted it and bragged about it in videos. So again, we know now that it is not just being naive, that there is intent. They are doing this on purpose.
the people that are participating in this, willingly or maybe unwittingly, and they useful idiots, foreigners.
But the speech that they gave me was, "Hi, my name is Matt. I am 40 years old. I love the culture of Weinan, and the people here are very nice." And it was a bunch of technical terms. I was literally speaking I hadn't even seen the city yet.
Useful idiots.
So they were asking me
the night before.
So what do? Is they cart all these white monkeys, more or less.
So they were asking me
the night before.
So they were asking me
the night before.
And they use useful idiots, foreigners.
Ja Yoe gives another example. He says that they asked him to say nice things about certain places that he had never even been to before. The girl on the bottom even confirms this by stepping in and saying, "We just got here the night before." As you can see, Ja Yoe and these guys are just on a propaganda tour. A pay to play. The CCP, the Chinese government, is paying them, and they get something in return.
And what they also did after that speech, they got a number of sort of products and businesses. Then it was like, oh, just hold this and say that you endorse this product, kind of thing. And you know, they got Ollie doing a few of these where they wanted to sort of endorse products that we'd literally seen 5 minutes ago and didn't know nothing about. And that's not to say those products were bad in any way, but we just didn't really know anything about them.
Barett admits they used him and his son as a way to advertise for products that they knew nothing about. Nothing. They knew nothing about these products. They said that they had never even used them before. But do you guys remember that Barett's son was even some weird Huawei commercial? Think about that for a second. Some random British kid in a Huawei commercial. Sounds an awful lot like a white monkey job to me. But, again, they've been saying that we're liars, that they're not doing white monkey jobs, that all of us anti-China people are just lying. I guess not.
We were sitting around. We were sitting around the dinner table.
This is on the first
night.
evening, wasn't it? Yeah.
This is the first evening, and they had taken us. I actually started working on the videos, guys, on this, and I started thinking about our schedule on the first day. Holy moly, they had us going like 7 different places, and it was all like like a big banner with Chinese script on it and diagrams on how to do hydro cooling or some sort of heating, and the person comes up with one of those speakers and she's reading the entire thing in Chinese, which none of us understand, and I looked around, and the only people there were taking pictures of us, looking at this banner being read to. I'm like, this is just a staged photo thing. This is just a staged photo thing. It's not even, we don't even know if it's interesting or not, because we don't know what the heck people are saying.
What's going on, yeah.
You see, this is another thing they all say is a lie. Ja Yoe says, things like this is not normal. Then he talks about how they've scheduled 7 other things in the first day. He talks about how they have pre-made banners and set up photo ops. Do you get it now, Matt? Do you get it now? These are the things that people like me and Serpent ZA and Law 86 have talked about for a long, long time. You are correct. These things are not right, but you continue to participate in them anyways. And then you say that we're all lying, but now you admit it in a video too.
So the end of the day, we get to the final dinner, and I wasn't drinking or anything, but I was kind of frustrated, and I'm sitting on the table, and I said, hey guys, I really don't want to. I don't want to be mean or anything. She says, so what did you think of the day? And I said, and I'm sorry, I'm going to swear here. I said, it was pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Say that.
I think I'm going to end the video here. The video really speaks for itself. What they're saying speaks for itself. There's 100% irrefutable evidence based upon what they're saying that they work with Chinese state-run media outlets and that they are getting paid in return for such things. That alone, again, for me as an American, is scary. I don't know about you guys, you British people out there, but I imagine that it would be pretty scary for you too. In the end, as I've said before, I hope that Ja Yoe, I hope that his passport gets revoked. I hope that he's investigated by the American government. I do believe that that is what they deserve. You should not be working with a communist regime that oppresses people. You do not deserve the freedoms that the West, or in this case America, has given you. Either way, if you would like to support me, someone not supported by a communist regime, you can check out my Patreon page. Like, comment, subscribe. I love you all, and have a good day.